else I thought was funny when it comes to these relationships? I can't believe that Penelope is still pining over old boy. And like the way that she be getting dissed by him constantly.
Especially that last episode.
Oh my God. Oh, he's like, oh no, I would never date Penelope. No. The fuck, no. Absolutely not. This is fact. He said everything but that. It'd be crazy because she'll be just sitting there like, y'all calling, are you interested in women? Are you? He's like, no, I'm not interested in any women right now. I'm not looking at anyone.
Particularly you.
Just like saying not interested in any women. He was like, no, I'm just focusing on me. And then she was like, but I am a woman. And he was like, you are not.
Don't be foolish. I could never.
You are Penelope. You are less than a woman. Lena was more than a woman. You are less than a woman to me.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Cinecism. I'm Eric.
It's your boy Dante, man, and today we're going to be doing a review on Bridgerton Season 2.
It's a new season in real life and in the show. People on the prowl again, all right? They out here trying to get wife and husband up. They going to these balls. They trying to see who out here. But now Anthony, you know, he looking for his bride and shit. I mean, I guess.
Begrudgingly.
Trying to fulfill his duties as the head of his household now, of course, since the passing of his father a while back. He always feel like he has to fulfill his duty. That's kind of a trash life to live. Daphne, she moved out of the house. She's over chilling with the dude who is non-existent this season. She's got a baby now. She visits the family every so often just to see how things are going. And we introduced to some new characters as well. This Indian family, the mother and their two daughters. Edwina is the younger daughter. Kate is the older adoptive daughter, but you know, the mother kind of treats her like her own biological daughter as well. Also, you have the queen trying to still unveil the identity of Lady Whistledown. She is so bothered by her. Man.
I couldn't believe that was still a thing this season, but we'll talk about it.
I mean, it gotta be.
This season's primary focus is Anthony has fallen in love with Kate, but he ends up proposing to Edwina, who is selected as the diamond this season, which was the equivalent of what Daphne was last season. So as you can imagine, drama ensues because of that.
Let's talk about Anthony. First of all, this is a great performance by this actor this season, man. Which, you know, he was fine before, but of course he wasn't the main focus. But the fact that we got to see him as the main character this season, we really got to see a lot more of his internal conflict of having to live up to his place and duty as a man of his household. And also trying to set aside his emotions or personal interests for the sake of the family. We got to see how his dad died. We kind of got to see how that immediately impacted him from then on. Like he had to become a man, like almost like at that very moment. You know, when his father passed, his mother was pregnant, of course, with their youngest sibling. It really made me feel for him this season because he was put in a very difficult situation at a young age. I mean, yes, he was a young man, but he was not at all ready to take on that mantle. It kind of really helps define or help you to understand why he is the way that he is. He had to grow up prematurely. He's a very logical, methodical type person. So he doesn't want his heart to overrule his mind. You know, I also appreciated the fact that they kind of explain, especially after him seeing how negatively the loss of his father impacted his mother. It also kind of helped us understand why he didn't even really want to be in that position. He didn't want to have that kind of impact on another person that he loved or that loved him to the extent that, you know, his parents loved each other. They went a lot deeper with his character than I was expecting, and I actually appreciated that.
It's funny, when the season first started, I wasn't too excited to see that he was going to be the main character.
Me neither.
I was actually a little put off by it, but they really did a great job of, like you mentioned, just defining him as a character, which I honestly probably like this story a lot more than Daphne and the Dukes. I could identify a lot better with him and Kate's plight than I could in Daphne and the Duke situation. Theirs seemed a lot more centered around them and romance. This had a lot of meat and potatoes, man. Like, a lot of this season is really spent on getting to really know these characters and getting really to know their history and you really get a really good understanding of why they're making the choices that they're making. Anthony has decided that he's going to look for a wife this season, but he's not doing it for any romantic reasons. In fact, he's trying explicitly to avoid that moment where he saw his dad die, saw his mama went through. It's like he does not ever want to endure that type of pain again. I think the fear of a loss like that is like has shaken him to the core as it would anybody, because his dad literally died right in front of him. So he's looking for a wife, but it's for all of the like basic and I guess superficial boxes, but it's really more so like a business choice. He's trying to find somebody that's going to be a good fit to take on the mantle with him to help lead the head of the house. And even today, man, people make decisions like that for financial reasons, for, you know, to make sure that they're stable for their financial future. And that's not completely out of the woods today. You know, it's a factor when somebody thinks about getting married and things like that, as it should be. You don't want to live your life in destitute or whatever the fuck. And then I also would say, man, I really felt for him, man, because in the first season, he loved that other girl that was in the theater. Couldn't be with her. Even though this season it was his fault, it was like, it was hurting me this time to see him yet again, not to be able to be with the girl that he was clearly in love with. Yeah. I was just like, damn, bro, Anthony can't catch a break out in these streets, man. Want to talk about Kate? Kate was easily my favorite character this season, but it was a lot of people too. It could have easily been Anthony, but it was Kate. Speaking of great performances, them two as the leads this season, like Bridgerton's kind of good for that too. Like even last season, I thought Daphne and the Duke were great. Them two as leads this season was kind of phenomenal to me. I thought they were great, like in terms of just the way they delivered lines and their confliction with one another and just their confliction and their duty to their family. She's in a very similar situation to him. This actress, she's on Sex Education, which is another phenomenal Netflix series. If you haven't watched it, I would encourage you to do so. She has a very small part on there and she's a very one-note character. She's kind of like a popular mean girl type situation. This show really flexed her acting ability, and I was very intrigued when I saw she was cast. You know, I only know her as a small part actress on that show, but man, she carried this shit as a lead, bro. She's very strong, very opinionated. Really the type of girl you can see Anthony with, because even though he's saying he wants somebody that's kind of meek and just like a placeholder, I could tell that that's not really his vibe. Even by the other girl that he dated, she was very strong and opinionated, so clearly he likes that type of woman. She, like him, had lost her father, and because of that, her family is in a situation where they're like in a bad way financially, you know, and they need to marry off her younger sister in order to get back in, you know, into a better financial standing. So it's a political thing for her to try to get her sister married, but she ended up falling in love with this guy, and this, you know, you get to really see a lot of the reasons why she's doing what she's doing. I also really enjoyed that conversation that she had with her mom. That whole thing when she was talking about, like, it felt like she was trying to earn her place in the family, and her mom had to reassure her that wasn't the case. You know, just because she's not her biological daughter. Her father ended up marrying her sister's mom. Basically, when they met, he had a daughter, which is Kate, and then they later got married and had a daughter, which is her sister. So she's not her biological daughter, but you never felt like that. I never felt like that even in watching the show, and I would forget it. And their relationship and her bond with her sister, man, like, you know, Anthony's relationship with his siblings is kind of like very distant, you know what I'm saying? But they were really, you could feel that her sister was everything to her, and then really Kate was everything to Edwina too, man. I really love that sisterly bond that they built.
I really appreciated like the change in her demeanor after everything was unveiled. You know, at first how she was very strong, you know, I mean, not to say she wasn't strong throughout, you know, the rest of it too, but after everything came to light, it's like she kind of humbled herself, and she was basically at her sister's mercy, you know what I mean? Or at the family or everybody's mercy. So she kind of took a step back. I kind of appreciated like that change in the demeanor. Like it's like she recognized her faults. She adjusted accordingly. It was nowhere near as sex scene heavy this season, which I'm sure somebody was disappointed, but I sure the fuck wasn't.
My coworker audibly was disappointed. She was so upset. I'm not even joking, man. And God bless her, but she was like, there wasn't any, there was hardly any sex this season. I was like, fam, I don't watch Bridgerton for that. I'm not one of these people that watch TV shows for sex scenes.
Fuck no.
To me, it's just not a reason to watch a show. I never tune into a show specifically for sex scenes, and like that's crazy to me.
Women be liking those erotic, like storyline, intertwined, fantasy type sex scenes. Like, listen, bro, just give me the
Show
Show me the skins, and we good. I don't need no side. I don't need no background. I don't care how the fuck they know each other. Get the clapping. I don't need to see. Me personally, I'm glad that the sex scenes were told down. Honestly, I don't never enjoy them shit. It does nothing for me to see those in this form of media. I don't know. That should just be uncomfortable and awkward for me. I'm like, all right, let's get through it. Like you said, I just don't watch these types of shows for scenes like that.
Yeah, it's a time and a place. Like, this is not why I watch TV. I don't mind it if it's in a show, but I assure you that if they take it out, it's not going to take nothing away, especially when it's a well-done show. I know that was a big selling point for this show in season 1, and this show has a very large woman viewership. So, I thought that they would lean into that, and a lot of shows would. It actually surprised me that they didn't. They went the more like character-driven route this season, which they did in the first season too, but was coupled with a lot of sex. This season they really didn't do that, which I don't know how a lot of people felt about that, compared to the first season. I certainly didn't mind it. I actually prefer when shows are more like this. I felt like for what you lost in the lack of sex, you certainly gained in a lot more character development here. The sex that they did have felt necessary. There was a build-up. It actually was meaningful when they had sex this season, and when it happened, it meant a lot. I was just like, man, if you're gonna do it, then that's definitely my preferred way.
I also appreciated it was you got to see a lot more focus of a lot of the side characters too. It was cool to see Eloise like on her own little personal subplot, and the brothers too.
This show is kind of good for that too, and like I said, it really reminds me in a lot of ways of Game of Thrones. It's a lot of different characters, different stories. Of course, it's a completely different show. You feel like everybody does get a good amount of story. I will say that one brother that's like the artist, they never really know what to do with him. He just always seems to be around.
I mean, he in a position where he
living his best life.
Yeah, which he just kind of want to do what he want to do. Yeah. I'm not mad at it. I probably would be doing what he's doing right. If I lived at that time in a family that kind of caliber. So
I did think it was interesting they tried to give Eloise a love interest this season. I didn't even think that was something she was interested in.
I didn't even think she liked dudes.
She had something negative to say about damn near everything. I had no idea that this was something she wanted. And granted, I know it's the times, and she's really going against the grain because there's a lot of unfair practices when it comes to women. So I think that that's fair, and I appreciate that about her character. What did you think about what's going on with the Featheringtons and Penelope?
Yeah, I was going to talk about that. Lady Featherington, man, she is something else, man. She is very strategic in the shit she be doing. Of course, they got a new Lord Featherington that's a cousin of her late husband. They think that he got money. He came from the Americas. They think he wealthy and shit. We come to find out he broke as fuck. He out here swindling motherfuckers. And, they devised a scheme to have people of wealth invest in these mines that don't produce jack shit. She's working that with him, and they also got this plot to sell fake jewelry. Yo, they some scammers, boy.
Listen, bro, I was like, yo.
And they be trying to stay above water, boy.
But
God,
they always scheming, because even her husband, I was like, man, it must just be that family, because even he was trying to get his shit off. Now, granted, it was gambling, but they were really plotting this season, like fake jewels and diamonds. This nigga said he had a ruby mine in the Americas. I've never personally even heard of a ruby mine. I've heard of a diamond mine.
I was kind of confused at what was going on with them. Was she ever invested in him, or was she always plotting? Because you saw how she reacted after she sent him on his way. Like, she was like heartbroken about it.
Yeah.
Do you think she was just trying to protect him?
Nah, she was trying to protect her daughters.
Why she was so emotional after she?
Because she liked him. I think that she actually. I think she did see some potential there, but she knew that whatever.
See, I kind of took it as her getting him the fuck up out of there before he got in trouble with the whole fake jewelry type scheme shit.
Oh yeah, it was definitely part of that for sure.
Yeah,
that was the reason why she told him to leave, because I mean, she knew that the jig was up and it was only a matter of time.
Right. Yeah, but then I also couldn't tell he was just trying to seduce her in order for him to, trying to take advantage of her for her to go along with whatever schemes he had.
The thing is, I agree with you. The thing is, when people kind of this low-key trash, that's how you feel. I couldn't tell who was trying to play who, because it definitely felt like, to me, at first, it seemed like he had a genuine interest in her, because they were similar, you know what I'm saying? But then it hit a point where I was like, man, it seemed like he just maybe trying to
he was over, laying it on a little bit too heavy.
Yeah. Her one daughter is completely oblivious. The one that she was trying to marry off to him. Yeah. I'm like, God damn, bitch, like, you ain't never gonna find a man.
She actually ain't got no sense.
Yeah, like, fine.
Ain't she the oldest?
I guess so. When you that inbred, who the fuck knows?
Oh my God.
Everybody marrying their cousin and shit. I can't decide if I like Penelope or not. Like, there are parts that I like about Penelope.
Yeah, she actually kind of trash.
But my problem with Penelope is that over all of this niceties and shit, I think there's a much, and you even see that with Lady Whistledown. Obviously, that's her outlet to get out her more like vicious side and sinister stuff. But I feel like that might low key just be her in season 1 when it came to Miss Thompson. She outed her whole thing. Like, that was vicious.
Hey,
very
Penelope is a very it's either me or you type person.
And see, that's what happened this season too. Yeah. And it was like, she tries to make it seem like that's the only choice to make. But when she put out that news about Eloise, first of all, something like that could probably get her killed. I thought she was just going to say she was hanging out with that boy and it was inappropriate. She talking about something, she hanging out with political radicals and shit. I'm like, hey, bitch. No,
I'm just trying to protect you. Fuck out of here. You trying to get me murdered.
That combo that they had was intense.
You talking about when they was in the room together?
Yes. That was a really good conversation to see, and I think she kind of low-key like revealed herself as a person because she was like, yeah, you just jealous because I get to be who I want to be. And then another thing, I couldn't believe, and granted, people are wrapped up in their own lives, so I guess take that as you will. I could not believe that Eloise still had not figured out that she was Lady Whistledown. I thought after,
and then she figured out
she left the wedding.
Yeah, and then she figured out in the most subtle way after all of these obvious clues.
She figured out because it was the last episode. Yeah. You know, in Eloise's defense, what I will say is Eloise is very self-absorbed. And like some of these characters are very much that way. I think she'd be very much caught up in her world, and she was very much caught up in what was going on with that guy and then the thing with the queen. So it's like she don't be paying attention, and that's why Penelope, I think, gets away with a lot of this. Because people don't really pay her.
That's actually true.
It's like they meet and they talk, but they're not invested a lot in each other's lives. With the exception of, like I said, Kate and her sister, a lot of these other siblings just feel disconnected.
Especially the younger ones who not so much in the spotlight. It would make sense for them to be able to fly under the radar in these type of situations.
Absolutely.
This brings me to my next point. One of the major flaws of shows like this to me is how long they take to reveal things or how long they dwell on certain plot points before the payoff. I feel like things linger longer than they should sometimes just for the sake of drama and longevity. I don't know.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Just to like stretch it as much as possible when I just don't be thinking that's necessary sometimes.
But I guess when they revealed the type of blowout that they had, that would be something that would probably be something you do on the last episode. So if it was going to be all that, but I didn't think it was going to get to that point. I thought she was just going to be able to find out it was her. By that point at the wedding, she hadn't done anything to her or her family to wrong anybody, really. I guess Lady Thompson, but I think in Eloise's eyes, it still could have been a redeemable friendship there. But after all of this, if they wanted to just tear them apart completely, then I guess save that for the finale.
You think they'll ever be friends again?
I was debating on that. Listen, man, I wouldn't. I mean, if you try to destroy my family and also try to it's just, the problem is the times. I don't think this is appropriate to do at any time, like as a friend or as a family member. It's like the consequences for women at this time are so more detrimental. When she says stuff like this to me, it's almost like you putting a death sentence on these women to me. Like, it's unnecessary.
Another thing when I talk about things being drawn out is like the will they, won't they, like, you know, with her, Kate and Anthony, like how long it took for them to finally kiss and how many times that got interrupted. 3 or 4 times when they was like this close to kissing and then some shit happened. Right. Why we gotta keep rehashing that?
You know what's funny is that plot point is used a lot in shows. The thing that I will say that I did not mind this time, I didn't mind it as much because there was a real conflict there of them getting together. There was another person involved that they both didn't want to hurt, and it was a lot at stake for them to actually get together and kiss. And for this show, a kiss really means a lot more.
I mean, I feel that. It was just the format in which it was delivered. It was the same one every time.
I agree.
That was the problem. I definitely understood the consequences. I understood that completely. But but like I said, it was just the almost kissing and getting interrupted by a noise or somebody walking in 4 times is what I had a problem with.
Speaking of which, man, the way in which they tried to hide this among their friends and family, I could not. First of all, they would have the same conversation over and over again about how they both was going to be able to compose themselves. Look, nigga, if you that hot,
I'm about to say, yo,
you need to just go ahead and come clean. This nigga at the wedding, look at his wife is about 4'3". Kate is probably
4 foot.
and he's staring. Literally, the girl is right here. This nigga looking like. It's like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? And it was so funny when her sister was like, has it always been this obvious? When they were, I'm like, yes, boo, it actually has. And it was crazy to me that nobody, well, the adults saw it. She was young and naive.
Nah, when he went to go pick up the thing, he just kept lingering. Just staring at her in front of the whole wedding audience. I'm like, are y'all serious?
Let me tell you,
is it that serious, bro? They was doing too much.
They couldn't even be around.
I ain't never acted like that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, nigga, what? And then the thing about it is, this ain't just related to Bridgerton. Let me tell you something, bro. These shows and movies with these romance, they make it seem like when you drop something, a hand touch is the most. It's nigga, drop something. Look. When in life have I touched somebody's hand and just
flesh? I've never experienced such elegance, such grace. True definition
See,
of beauty.
your conflicts, my lord. Oh, no. Like, what the fuck? Like, I've dropped a lot of shit in my life, and a lot of women have helped me pick up stuff in my life. I've never touched their hand. Oh my lord. They make that shit seem erotic.
I'm vexed.
You vex me, my lord. You vex me. The hand and the foot, probably the least erotic part of the human body. Okay? Them shits are utilitarian like a motherfucker. But some of the moments were so over the top. I said, I can't. Like the way he like sniffed her one time when she came in a room. I'm like, bro, if you need to smell this woman, you just need to be inside her. I'm not even trying to be funny. Y'all not fucking is worse than y'all smashing, because y'all can't even be in the same room with one another.
I would be so uncomfortable if I seen anybody interacting like that at any place or event. They were like, oh.
One thing I did enjoy about this show, to see the inner workings of the politics of like this society was crazy to me. The scheming they would have to do after a scandal, like after that whole thing happened where the wedding didn't go down, and they had to make these
damage control.
Make these public appearances, and then they had to come up with these. They literally were having meetings about how they were going to move out in society just so they could get back in the good graces of the town, because they were shunned.
Yeah, people were so fickle, man.
Get fucked up, you like dead in this town. Like when they schemed to go to that museum together, and they were like, yeah, we gotta make it seem like we all getting along. And
I'm sure it ain't too far from how like celebrities function nowadays when it comes to making public appearances.
Absolutely. So. And even, I mean, in smaller circles, there is a amount of things that we do, I think, as people to kind of show safe face in front of our friends and family. But the level they was going to, I ain't never had a powwow with a group of my enemies to talk
have a conference.
How we need to move in public.
You know, I know the last thing I wanted to talk about that I said I was going to mention later was Edwina, the actress that played Edwina, and her.
We need to talk about that.
The way that in which her personality and demeanor changed after it was unveiled that her sister and Anthony had feelings for each other. Because at first, I thought she was going to be a kind of one-note, kind of flat character, which it was fine because I thought that's what she was supposed to be because of how she was brought up by the sister to look a certain way or to fill a certain role. But I'm glad that shit kind of went away after, and we got to see like her as a person outside of just this caricature of a person. You know what I mean? That's
very much what she.
It was very cool to see her express how she personally felt about things that had happened, and not just see this like facade. After all of the shit got pushed to the surface, and we got to see her as an actual person and see what her real character traits where I really enjoyed her character a lot more.
Me too. I think that scene that she had with her and Kate was probably easily one of the best in this season because it really shifted her character, you know, and I thought that there were elements of her. They never made her seem completely meek and weak. Like, even when she was talking to Anthony about, you know, becoming his wife, she was like, hey, you know, I enjoy books. I got a mind of my own. I'm my own person. So she never, to me, felt like a complete blank slate. But when that happened to her, it was almost like she grew up in that moment and she really started to realize that she had gave her sister the reins on her life, essentially, like her whole life. She really was in the dark about her own feelings on things. And I think a lot of her feelings that she thought were hers were actually Kate's. And I love that moment where she really started to realize, like, nah, man, this moment on, I'm going to start doing what I need to do for me. I'm not going to do this to please anybody else. And she was like, you shouldn't either. And I love that conversation when she finally said that to her too. She was like, look, you've done more than enough for us. You know, because Kate had pretty much lived for her sister and her mom her whole life and really had abandoned all hopes of real happiness for herself. At that point, Edwina kind of became the voice of wisdom, and it was really cool to see that dynamic.
Yeah, I think Kate needed to hear that.
Absolutely.
Especially from somebody that she admired so much. I think she needed somebody to say, hey, it's okay for you to, like, live for yourself.
Yes.
I actually enjoyed this season of Bridgerton more than I was expecting. Yes, it's still a little melodramatic. That kind of comes with the genre of television, but I still enjoyed it. I thought they did much more of a character development or deep dive than I was anticipating, especially with Anthony. He was probably my favorite character. Some of the subplots might have lingered a little bit longer, but that's just my, you know, personal taste. The chemistry was great here, especially with the two leads. So overall, I'm going to give Bridgerton season 2 a 8 out of 10, I guess. I definitely appreciate it wasn't as many sex scenes in this too. I mean, I know some people might have a problem with that, but I, for one, did not.
Just like season 1, I actually became invested in the story. And I didn't think that was going to happen this time because I was a lot less interested in Anthony as a character, but they got me yet again. This season was no different. In fact, I thought they did a better job at doing more character development this season for the two main leads. I just really bought into that whole story about why they were the way that they were and just what they had been through as people. Like, I really enjoy stuff like that. This show also, you know, pretty funny. It always has like good humor and, you know, it's a wide range of different characters on here, which I appreciate. It's always very colorful. It's a great show to look at. I enjoyed Bridgerton. I think this season was very good. I thoroughly enjoyed the two main leads this season. I thought their story was compelling. I'm going to give season 2 a 8 as well. I think if you enjoyed season 1 of Bridgerton, and you don't mind the lack of butt cheeks, then you'll probably enjoy season 2. I say give it a shot. I didn't notice this in season 1.
All right, y'all. That was our review of Bridgerton season 2. Hope y'all enjoyed it. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. If you have any suggested reviews you'd like to see us cover here, please drop a comment below.
Absolutely. And if you guys have seen Bridgerton season 2, please let us know what you thought. Were you disappointed in the lack of sex and butt cheeks and tits? Like, yeah, please let us know that as well. Also, how did you feel about the characters? How did you feel about the overall story? What were some of your favorite moments? We'd like to know that also. We appreciate y'all, man.
Thank y'all.
Peace.